I've got a question for you. Have you seen all the ads and everything out there about, hacking your health and hacking your way to better health and all those little scientific health hacks that are out there? Well, I hate to say it, but most of them are actually health hacks. They really are. There's one thing you need to know before you can start tapping in and trying to hack your health and improve your health. You have to know who you are. You have to know about yourself and really, well, your code. You have a code. You have a genetic code, which basically lays out the things that you need for your health. It's your playbook. It's everything that's there for this is what's going to help you survive and thrive through life if you do what's in this code properly. If you don't, well, bad things are going to happen. Or if you give it the wrong inputs, right? Because it's a code. It's all about coding. It's almost like the Matrix, but not quite inside your body. And join me today. We're going to talk about, well, a lot of nutritional therapies, stuff you can do to help out with your health. As we talk about insurance and the impacts it's going to have on your health and your future with medicine, medical stuff, going to the hospital, seeing doctors, and how you can take care of your own health when you know your code, what to do with it, what to do for yourself. This way you can take care of yourself, your family, your own freedom, and you're not going to have anybody selling you on things that are going to do you harm. And that's the biggie here. You don't know what you don't know.
Clint Fuqua is the health engineer, dishing up healthcare reform through personal responsibility in the areas of nutrition, discipline, and fitness. Clint cuts through misunderstood health theory with over 35 years of practical results. Start taking control of your health today with The Health Engineer. Here's your host, Clint Fuqua.
All right, we're back, the Health Engineer Show. I'm Clint Fuqua, the Health Engineer, right here on OBBM Network. And I got my buddy Mike on with me today. We haven't done this since I had the radio show. So this is like,
it's been a while.
Yeah, this is like part two. If you listen to my radio show, this is part two. So we're just going to kind of riff because we know each other for a long time. And so for about that, we're going to be talking about nutrition and your health. And so, Mike, you're in insurance. Like that's your
43 years.
43 years in insurance. So you've seen a lot of changes of what goes on in insurance, in medical, the interconnection between the two, what they're looking at, all the numbers on the backside of, when people are going to die, and then, here's what your rates are, and here's all these other rates, and here's what insurance is probably going to cover and what it's not going to cover, right? So you've got a lot of the insider secrets on a lot of this stuff, just to some degree, or at least a lot of knowledge of what's happened in the changes, not all the good changes that happened over the past decades. But the biggie that comes down to is health, right? Just a person's personal health, what they're doing to take care of themselves, takes care of most all the issues and gives you much better rates, by the way, much better rates.
It does help.
Just put it out there, much better rates, and everything else. So, Mike, if you would give everybody a little intro into you and your insurance group.
So, yeah, I've been 43 years in the insurance business. So I tell everybody I got started the day I turned 12. Otherwise, that makes me old. I did get my license the day I turned 18, but I went through my whole life, had been in the insurance business, and in my 40s, late 40s, I thought I was bulletproof. I was a professional runner in my 20s and thought I was Superman until I wasn't.
Yeah.
Family doctor sends me to the ER thinking I was having a heart attack. I wasn't, but that's when the fun started.
Oh, yeah.
Small town hospital, misdiagnosis, end up with a pacemaker that I didn't need. Had an autoimmune response where they went in my femoral artery to the sealant they used, almost lost a leg, went septic, immune system went crazy. If you notice the white on my hands, that's called vitiligo. That's an autoimmune response. But I developed this thing called idioangioedema, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Spent 3 years in hell. Mm-hmm. Got up to 45 doctors, finally said this isn't working, fired them all. Went on a 1.5-year sabbatical, traveled the world, figured out how to heal myself nutritionally, And in part of that path, stumbled across this scientist by the name of Paul Sullivan, who had an algorithm that builds custom nutrition.
Yeah.
And so for the last 8 years, I've been on a mission to show people how to hit the easy button and be better. Is it the be all, end all, the perfect? No, but it is
close.
Way better than what you could do on your own.
Yeah, and so some personal input here on that and some of my background on this. So everybody out there, if you didn't know, I used to run a supplement company years ago. Okay, like I ran one of the companies where you see with bottles on the shelves. I ran one of those. Okay, I did product formulation. You may have actually taken one of the things I formulated at some point.
God bless you.
Yeah, and same thing with Paul Sullivan, because he's had a storied career in. I can guarantee you've taken something that he helped formulate back in the day. While he's telling them, it'd be better if you use these things. They're like, well, but it's going to cost more. He's like, but it'd be better, but it costs more. Those conversations go on whenever they're doing supplement stuff, right? So, so awesome guy. I love Paul Sullivan. I love him and I hate him, because he created what I wanted to create back when I was in the industry. Like when I was running a company, I wanted to create what he made. So that's why I hopped in on with the company automatically. I didn't care what else they had. That thing right there was brilliant, just absolute. It's about as brilliant as the background.
Yeah, the background
back here. So sorry, it's a brand new stage. I love this the whole brand new stage thing. So, but yeah, your background. I mean, your story is phenomenally amazing, because one, world-class runner, right? For years and years and years. You've done biking and everything else too. So all the long distance. Kenneth Cooper, you need to go out and run, which he's been backing off on some of that stuff, the past couple of years on how much and the distance and time and everything else. But like, you were in it. You were doing everything you were supposed to be doing. And then other than the nutrition part, which was kind of the missing link.
Yeah, when I used to train, nobody talked about nutrition. I mean, I'd go to McDonald's and order 3 Big Macs. I mean, I was eating 10,000 calories a day to weigh 150 pounds. Mm-hmm. And just wasn't an issue. Wasn't an issue for me till I got sick.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when the traditional things weren't working, nutrition became a big issue. And I can tell you, for you guys, it's an issue. You can ignore it, but it will come back to find you. I don't know, I'm going to date myself, but I already said I've been in the insurance business 43 years. Yeah. Remember the Fram commercial, pay me now, pay me later. You can either change your oil or not change your oil. Well, nutrition, these bodies that we're in are wonderfully and fearfully made, but there comes a point where they just can't take it anymore. And I know you're in the training business, but out in the trenches where I live, I get put in front of 2 kinds of people. Really sick people and really healthy people. I get the really healthy ones that get it and they want to go to the next plane, and then everybody else sends me Uncle Fred, who's 385 pounds on 5 diabetic medicines, 4 blood pressure medicines, and got all these other problems, and they're looking for, how do I fix Uncle Fred? Okay, so if you don't take it serious, what I'm seeing is just a large number of people at a very much earlier age than we used to see, people just going off the cliff.
Oh yeah, and well, especially this year. So, COVID, the shutdowns, everything has it's sped things up in regard to that. So the average weight gain, okay, with COVID-19 is actually 20 pounds, okay? It's the average weight gain over this past year for people, especially the millennials are the worst of it. They actually gained closer to 30. So technically 2 to 3 clothing sizes in increase. It's about one clothing size for every 10 pounds. Okay, just realize that. So we've had this huge expansion. Now there's people that got fit. I know some other people that got fit. Most of the fitness influencers out there, I'm sorry, I'm calling a bunch of y'all out right now, they got fat. There's a lot of fitness influencers that I saw go from like awesome to, it's like, what happened? Like, well, I didn't get my gym and all my other stuff that it takes to look good. and you had other people that did actually get in shape and put the time in to do it. But for the majority, we had an expansion, and one of the big issues with COVID and any other disease is inflammatory factors and weight. And if you have a higher amount of either one of those or both of those, chances are you're going to get sick. You won't do well, right? So that's why I'm glad you're talking about that piece of it, which is you get the super healthy people that they're ready to do it, and then you've got the others. So what do we do for the others? What do you do to try to help out?
So we mentioned the name of the company, ID Nutrition, but that stands for Individually Designed Nutrition. So maybe we could talk a little more about what individually designed means. Is you go online and it's an algorithm, and it asks you questions, you answer questions, and what algorithms do, once you start answering, they come up with more, and by the time you get done with it, it knows more about you than you know about you. It knows enough to make nutritional suggestions, highly accurate nutritional suggestions.
And I'm going to ask you a lot more questions about that after a little break, so we're going to take a quick little break, go to our sponsors. Love our sponsors, we love our sponsors, they're awesome. Come back. We're going to dig a lot deeper into nutrition and what you need to do to take care of yourself, get healthier, and not have to worry about all this disease stuff that everybody's trying to scare you about.
We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. The Epoch Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interests, and we never will be. The Epoch Times is a non-partisan media. That means we don't stand for any political party. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. Subscribe today and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. We'd love to have you on board.
Business runs on technology, and human beings are creatures of habit. Unfortunately, not all our habits are good. Technology, when it works, is supposed to make our lives easier, creating routines that allow us to protect customer data, track our progress, forecast the future, communicate better, and move much faster. So, you need technology solutions that work when you're not working, or simply not paying attention. Smart technology solutions, making the complicated uncomplicated.
All right, we're back, and we're going to do a like Q&A right quick on how people can get healthy, and not just the super healthy, because they're already on the track, right? But for the people that are not, right, they're starting to search around, they're starting to look around, they're starting to ask some questions, finally, about what's going on with everything. Start asking questions. Don't put too many answers out there. You might get canceled off social media, but start asking questions. But what can they start doing? So I do nutrition, which I hopped in automatically because I love the system, the algorithms. It's as cool as the graphic back here. So is the DNA that we'll talk about here in a second. But so let's start with the individualized piece of this. Because most people, you go out there, you get your little vitamin off the shelf, right? It's not made for anybody. They threw some stuff to get, seriously. They threw some stuff on the wall. Whatever's stuck, that's what's in there, okay?
Glad you said that.
Whatever was cheapest that stuck to the wall, that's what's in there. I'm just saying, I'm in the industry, okay? I know, I formulated. We did not do that with my stuff. But let's start with the individualized piece, which is that little bottle ain't for you. So what is?
Yeah, so the whole difference is, and you guys have all been in the stores, and we won't name names, but you go in and there's somebody behind the counter who hopefully is over 18, and they've got suggestions, and it's whatever the hot thing is for the week. This week we're doing collagen. This week we're doing vitamin C mixed with 27 other things. Whatever the thing is for the week, that's what you're going to get recommended. So ID Nutrition is the exact opposite of that. What it does is you go through the algorithm, it's extremely accurate, like blood work accurate, and it will make recommendations. What's really cool about it is you can take every recommendation it makes, or you can take some of them. You can start where it makes sense for you to start, but what it does that nobody else does, at least I've never seen, and you know, I'm easy to find with a last name like Unclebach. You can, if you go to Unclebach on Facebook, I'm easy to find.
That's like Fuqua. There's hardly any of us out there.
Can't hide.
Yeah.
So what's so special about this is part of the questions it asks you, Clint, are maladies, like are you diabetic? Do you have high blood pressure? Are you overweight? It asks you these questions. Why? Because they matter. It asks you how you eat. Why? Because it matters. And then it asks you, are you taking any pharmaceuticals? As a matter of fact, there's 3,000 plus pharmaceuticals baked into the algorithm, 1,800 maladies plus. And so by the time it gets done, it can do things like drug nutrient depletion, which you can't do anywhere else. In other words, if you're taking metformin, it knows the nutrients that metformin depletes out of your body.
When you a lot of B vitamins.
And you need, if you're diabetic, you need the metformin. I mean, you got to get your blood sugar under control, but it's depleting these nutrients. Well, over a period of time, you're going to develop a new series of symptoms because of the nutrient depletion, which is going to land you right back in the doctor's office, which gets you another prescription.
So whenever you're sitting at home and the commercial comes on for the medication, right? Ask your doctor about it. Oh yeah, and here's all the stuff that you're going to be feeling, and you know the side effects, everything else that they just run through as fast as possible after they tell you to ask your doctor about the thing. Well, all those are nutrient depletions that are happening in your system because it's taking stuff out, and you're going to start getting these symptoms. And then, you're on to the next medication. You go from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7. Next thing you know, you're wasting $3, $5, 6 grand a month on medications because of one.
Yeah, we take a few prescriptions in the United States. The last year I saw the numbers for was 2016, and in 2016 it was 5 billion prescriptions we filled. 5B with a billion. I think that works out to 18 prescriptions for every man, woman, and child in America, which means since some of you are going, well, I don't take any, that means somebody's taken a bunch. The most I've ever seen anybody on was 72. That was scary, okay? But you know, if you're my age in America, if you're 60, it's normal for 60-year-olds to be
at least 5.
At least 5. I run into 5, 6, 7 all the time, and nobody ever takes into account, and unfortunately, the doctors, and I'm not anti-doctor, doctors help save my life, but they're not taught drug nutrient depletion in medical school. Nobody is. No, and as far as I know,
they're barely taught nutrition. They get that for like 6 months.
There's not another, at least free, algorithm you can go do that will tell you what's being taken out of your body if you're going to take the pharmaceuticals.
To be fair, there are 2 out there, but they're not nearly as good. I've seen all of them. I've tested them out.
So, for the last 8 years, I've devoted myself to getting people to at least try to pay attention, at least listen, at least try putting back the things that you're losing every day and see what fixes itself. Because quite often, if you'll provide your body a basic nutritional foundation. We're not talking about anything elaborate. We're not talking about crazy stuff. We're just talking about a basic, fundamental nutritional foundation. You'll be amazed at the things that fix themselves. Your body wants to fix itself.
It wants to fix itself. All it needs is the building blocks to do it, right? So you have like this thing back here, which we're going to talk about DNA here in a little bit, right? So your body it's a structure. It wants to rebuild, and it can rebuild, okay? It's a living, breathing thing. It rebuilds daily. That's part of the process is rebuilding. It rebuilds slowly over time, yes? But if you give it the right stuff, it can rebuild much quicker, much more effectively, and that comes down to knowing exactly how much of a nutrient you should have, when to have it, okay? It's part of the chronobiology that goes into what we do. This way you know time of day, which is huge factor. We won't get, that's a whole story in and of itself right there. We won't get into that one. But it's one of those things, how much of that is beneficial for you, because it's different amounts. Like your need for vitamin D is different than my need for vitamin D, based on some of our DNA stuff. Also how much we're out in the sun, age, or other variations, right? So like whenever you hear recommendations on you should have this much vitamin D, well, yeah, roughly. I mean, technically you could have that much, but it really is that how much you need specifically? You might need more, you might need less. You might have a situation where my dad can't take vitamin D at all. He actually got sun overexposure. He has so much built up in his system, he can't take vitamin D. It's actually a toxin for him. So, you know, there's that piece of, there's always a swing on both sides of this. And that's why I love the system, because it factors a lot of this stuff in.
It takes into consideration a lot. Like I tell people all the time, and I've gotten a chance to do a lot of interviews and things, you know, I can go for 18 hours without taking a breath. Obviously, we don't have time to do that. Hopefully, what we do have time to do is to get you to take a deep breath and say, okay, there's a system out there that can give me a basic fundamental approach, a place to start. Because, I mean, you know, with Dr. Google, I mean, you can go out and start researching stuff, and 6 weeks later, you can still be typing. The problem is, at the end of all that, you really don't know anything.
You're going to have so many illnesses after you see Dr. Google. It's ridiculous. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back after our sponsors. Please enjoy all of our sponsors. We love them. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some DNA and some other really cool stuff for you, because you really need to know about your own code before you start trying to hack your code.
My American dream is to help you stay healthy and energized so you can live your American dream.
Our American dream is equipping future generations of American dreamers.
My American dream is to protect my community so they can live their American dream.
My American dream is to bring you some spice and flavor to your life.
Our American dream is ensuring what's most valuable to you.
Our American dream is creating opportunities for healthcare providers so they can have their American dreams.
My American dream is serving our business community and advocating for all of your American dreams.
Business runs on technology, and human beings are creatures of habit. Unfortunately, not all our habits are good. Technology, when it works, is supposed to make our lives easier, creating routines that allow us to protect customer data, track our progress, forecast the future, communicate better, and move much faster. So, you need technology solutions that work when you're not working, or simply not paying attention. Smart technology solutions, making the complicated uncomplicated.
All right, we're back, and we're going to do some code cracking.
I like that. We're going to do like the Da Vinci Code?
Yes, it's sort of, kind of. So, anybody out there, you've seen, you know, computers have codes, they have algorithms, all that stuff. You have a genetic code, okay, it's called DNA, and you've seen all the DNA testing stuff out there. We implemented that 5 years ago on the
Just
DNA.
about, yeah.
4 or 5 years ago on the DNA testing. So, why should somebody get their DNA tested? And before you answer that, why should they get it tested? And what should they look for in a DNA test on the safety side, as far as it's not going to get used by somebody else for other stuff?
Oh, wow. So why you should do it? I mean, obviously it's your genetic code. So the DNA test that ID Life uses, for example, one of the things it'll tell you is whether you get any benefit from doing aerobic workout. So my daughter, who
love the story,
actually president of the company,
yeah,
you know, diligent working out, and couldn't figure out why she couldn't get that last 10, 15 pounds. We get DNA, it comes out, and she was madder than a wet hen, man. All this, because it just said, hey, cardio ain't your thing.
Don't do it.
She quit beating herself up with cardio, and boom, instantly. So
because it spiked her inflammatory factor.
So number one, if you want to know how you should work out, for a couple $100, you can learn how to do it, but it's way more than that. It's, things like MTHFR, which is methylation, whether or not you metabolize your B vitamins well, and trust me, that's a big deal. We won't, obviously, again, we could talk about it for an hour.
Cardiovascular health, homocysteine are huge. Heart attacks, it'll take care of a lot of heart attack and stroke issues.
So bottom line, if you don't methylate your B vitamins well and you're taking synthetic B vitamins, you might as well just get the hammer out and whack yourself in the head with it, because that's about how much good you're doing your body. So you can learn a whole bunch of things like that about you so that you can make better nutrition choices, better exercise choices, better lifestyle choices. Like, it'll tell you how you react to stress. If it's telling you you're a red line stressor, I mean, what that means is if you don't do something about it, you will pay later on in life with the thing, heart attack, stroke, you fall off the cliff. And that's a big deal. So if you'd want to know, it's kind of worth the money, I think. Spend a couple $100, you get all these crazy answers. As a matter of fact, it's about a 40-page report.
Yeah, it's an amazing report, because I've seen a lot of DNA reports out there. It's everything you can get from all the other DNA companies, and a lot more too. So you get a lot more in just our baseline report than you'll get in like their, definitely more in their baseline, but even their expanded reports, you're getting more out of it from a functional standpoint, which is, look, here is what you need to do for diet, for exercise. What type of diet should you be on? Should you be eating carb heavy or fat heavy or protein heavy, or a mix of the three? Should you fast? Should you not fast? Because fasting is a big deal right now. And some people, if you fast, it throws you into not just a stress cycle, but a starvation cycle. And you end up gaining a lot more weight after you come out of the fasting phase. I'm just being honest right now. It happens. So it's taking those things to where, one, you don't buy into the fads, right? It gets rid of all the fads. They can't sell you on all the junk out there, because you already know your code, right? I've seen all the people talking about, hacking your genetic code and hacking your health and hacking that. I'm like, dude, you're hacking yourself to death if you don't know your code. And once you know your code, well, now you know how to hack it. You know how to work with it, how to work within whatever your body needs for everything, not just from a nutritional standpoint.
Yep. So when we added DNA, it was just a really cool thing. Really helped a lot of people. Helped me. It's helped everybody I've seen that actually used it. But the biggest thing that helps them is just having a basic fundamental knowledge of how to create a nutritional foundation. And one of the cool things, if you haven't taken the assessment, I mean, if you go to my website, you can do it for free. It's mike.idlife.com. But next to each nutrient, it recommends you, there's a little button that says why. And it will take you back to the science. It will tell you, not just because we said so, all the way back to the white papers.
Every study of why.
More than you could ever read.
Yeah. If you want to read them, go ahead.
They're there. It references them.
If you want a good night's sleep, read the studies.
But, it just completes the picture. So everybody wants to know why. So we answer the question why.
Yeah, and the ability to vary stuff as well. So which is really cool, because it's you in that bottle, you can't change anything that's on that bottle. You can't. Our stuff, you can change it every month with upping amounts, decreasing amounts. Also, people have budgets, right? So there's budgetary requirements, which is, I can only afford X amount. Well, okay, for the X amount, here's what we really recommend that you have for your health specifically. Stay within there. If you want to add in some more, here's the things that you're going to add into it. And if you want like optimal, well, here, have at it. Here's the extra gold, spinning rims, and everything else for this whole deal.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people take an assessment and spend $20-some. I've seen people spend $200. Mine every month is probably a little closer than $200, but I've got very specific reasons for that. Mine has changed immensely over the last 7 years. Way different today than it was back when I was sick. Whole different agenda, but that's the whole thing. It's really cool. It morphs with you. It changes with you. All you have to do is log back in and retake the assessment. When your answers change, you should change it. If your weight changes 10 pounds, you should go in and change your assessment.
If your medications change,
you should
you're
definitely
taking the
change
medications off, which is a biggie, which most people don't realize. So there's drug-nutrient interactions. This is honestly my favorite thing about this whole. Well, one of my top favorite things. So drug-nutrient interactions are they're huge, they're actually a deadly issue in some cases, right? So you've got certain drugs don't play well with certain nutrients. They just don't. And you also have medications that take nutrients out of you. We talked about the nutrient, those going out of your system. So, but the biggie is having a nutrient in your system that does not play well with a medication and actually causes issues and causes medical complications. We don't have that issue there because we have those studies on the background of you're taking these medications, well, we're gonna add these nutrients in, but these nutrients you have zero access to because they're going to negatively affect these medications and cause you major issues later on, or maybe tomorrow. So, and nobody else has that. That little bottle out there does not have it at all.
Yep, so yeah, when you pull stuff off the shelf, wherever you're pulling it off the shelf, you get what you get.
Yep.
In ID Nutrition, you get something that's built specifically for you, in amounts specifically for you, that takes into consideration medications, lifestyle, DNA, if you want to take the DNA test, which is pretty amazing, especially since the company gives you all access to all that information for free.
For free, and it's because it wasn't free in the beginning. I remember when we started this whole deal. So, Mike, thank you for coming on. For everybody out there, if you want to go on my website, theclintfuqua.com, go in there, you can take it for free. If you want me to run through it with you, send me a message. I'd love to go through it with you. It takes like 15 minutes to do the online assessment. It's really quick, but you'll learn more about yourself in that than probably any other time in your life. So
they should take advantage of that offer.
Yes, you should. I charge a lot to do that stuff. You're getting it for free right now through the show. So
hey man,
thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And for everybody out there, check out the rest of our shows right here at the OBBM on the brand new stage. You're gonna love all the brand new stuff we're doing here, all the cool stuff we got going on for you to help out with your family, your health, your life, and your business.
The Health Engineer is produced by Offbeat Business Media for the OBBM Network and made possible through the generous support of sponsors and viewers like you. For program information, call 214-714-0495. The Health Engineer, Offbeat Business Media LLC, OBBM, Network trademarks, and all portions of this broadcast are produced for the exclusive use of the OBBM Network and affiliates, and may not be reproduced without written permission by Offbeat Business Media LLC. All inquiries are directed to call 214-714-0495.